Okay, got a couple new items here from Jumper. I think this is the T12 transmitter. Take a look at that in a second. And this little box here, I believe, is called the Dart. There's no information on the packaging. I think this is some kind of a paper airplane, I believe. So you get a little battery, some tools. Yeah, it comes with a whole bunch of random parts. There's a little USB charger. I think this is actually some kind of styrofoam, not paper. So looks like this, and it is foam. And then they give you, looks like they give you two of these. I get a spare. And a whole crap load of parts here. Obviously some assembly required. You get some carbon fiber pieces, you get a little motor. And I think this is and a couple servos too. I think this runs off of this little receiver. It's like a FreeSky receiver with, I guess it's got some servo controls there. Runs off a battery, so obviously it's got some sort of level of control in terms of flying, in terms of ailerons, I guess. Not 100% sure, but yeah, I think this will be kind of a cool little indoor flyer if you're into really lightweight stuff. And obviously it's got some instructions, which I'll probably going to need to figure this out. Okay, so this is the new T12 transmitter, and I don't think this is quite as high-end as the Jumper, the T8 SG V2 Plus that I'm actually using as my daily driver, and I did a review on this earlier. This one comes in just like some basic packaging here. It doesn't come with a nice case like the previous Jumper did. You do get a neck strap here. Get a USB cable. This one's a mini, not a micro, and some kind of parts here, probably to change from mode 1 to mode 2, I'm assuming. Get a quick start guide, basic instructions. There might be more instructions online somewhere. But this looks a lot like the T8SG V2, not the Plus. The Plus has the OLED screen, this has the LCD screen, and I don't believe this has the Hall sensor gimbals, but the gimbals here feel pretty smooth, and they feel like the original Jumper, the version 1 Jumper, but in the version 2 case. In this particular model, they have OpenTX on here, so it doesn't have Deviation TX anymore, and everything is run off of this module in the back here, this JR module. So they include the 4-in-1 capabilities in here. So it's got the 4-in-1 chips, so it does the pretty much all the same protocols as the Jumper V1, V2, but it doesn't have Deviation TX. So it'll do like FreeSky, FlySky, Spectrum, all those protocols through this module here. You can actually switch this out. Put your crossfire module in here, and I believe this should work with the L9M or the L9R module. When I was trying to get to work in the Jumper, but it didn't work in the Jumper, so hopefully it'll work in this one. This has OpenTX on there, so I can't imagine why it wouldn't. But this does have OpenTX and full crossfire support. And I'll go ahead and pop out the module. You can see it's got just a regular JR module there. I'll go ahead and put this back in here and see what it says. I don't think it comes with batteries, but it does come with the same battery tray for AA batteries as the Jumper V2. And I don't know if you guys can see that there's this little micro SD card slot there. Obviously that's going to be for OpenTX, but everything else seems to be the same. 3 position switches here, 2 position switch here. Got 3 dials on the shoulders, so it's very similar to the Jumper V2, very, very similar. Anyway, I'll have a full review video on this one, obviously, coming up soon, so stay tuned. Okay, so I got another 5-inch drone here. It's called the Way-TEC Red Hair, 215 millimeters, and this is the Bind and Fly FreeSky version. So we get a couple sets of these Flash 5152 props in red. Okay, you got a little bag here with some Velcro straps, looks like a connector possibly for a receiver. battery pad, some lock nuts probably for the motors, and some extra screws and stuff here, so a little wrench. Okay, so here's the drone itself, and it comes with this little, it looks like a stubby TBS clone. I'm pretty sure this is a clone. And this has got a pretty unique arm design. It's curved. Not sure if that's going to mean if it's going to be weaker or stronger. It's hard to tell if you look at the way the carbon is cut. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It feels stiff to me, but I'm not super strong. Yeah, it feels fine. Not sure how thick it is. We'll find out in the review. It probably looks like about 4 millimeters. Very interesting design. It looks like it's a little bit of a stretch deck, so it's closer side to side, longer front to back. Pretty long XD60 cable. Not too bad, but no strain relief here, and looks like they've got some liquid electrical tape covering the battery pads. So I would probably zip tie this to the arm like this, and you'll still have enough battery length here to connect to your battery. Got some LEDs in the back. I don't see a buzzer anywhere. Got the stack here with a 4-in-1 ESC, and looks like this is one of those flight controllers with a video transmitter built into that. And this one comes with the DOS Samgook motors. I think these are the 2306 ones, the red ones. So these are like about a $10 motor, and then it looks like this is one of those generic CC, I think CMOS cameras. I think this is one of those 16:9 CMOS cameras that comes on a lot of these bind and flies. And I don't see a locking screw on the side here. Just gonna have to lock that down with the nut there. So I'm not sure if I like that so much. Here's the antennas for the receiver, FreeSky receiver, just kind of hanging out right there. Probably need to bind it and then use some double-sided foam tape to stick it down somewhere. And just look at the bottom. You got some countersunk screws, so you got a nice flat bottom there. It's nice. And I don't think I'd use the included battery straps. Those look pretty weak. Probably want a different battery strap for here, but that should be fine. I have plenty of those. Doesn't feel too heavy. So yeah, I'll have a review on this coming up soon with some flight footage. So stay tuned for that. Okay, got another one of these toy pocket folding drones here. It's from a company called FQ777. I haven't reviewed one of their models in a while. This is the FQ31, and it's got folding arms. I think this sends Wi-Fi FPV to your phone. This one's only the 480p version. There's apparently a 720p version out there. A little controller to, obviously video to your phone, and it looks pretty tiny. It looks like they also sent along a box here with a couple extra batteries and some spare props. And it looks like this is available from Amazon, so it's going to be my customer service. Yeah, here's what it looks like. Arms just fold out. So it's typical of a lot of toy drones out there. Brushed motors, of course, but yeah, quite a bit bigger when all the arms are extended. And there's no battery in there right now. It's pretty light without the battery. So I guess a USB charger and some extra props. And you got some instructions and some more instructions. And here's the tiny controller. Pretty tiny. Looks like it's got altitude hold. Really tiny, actually. Yeah, looks like this uses some AAA batteries in the back. And looks like this attaches to the back here somehow for your phone. So yeah, I'll have a review on this coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so I got a new battery to test here from Ovonic FPV. It's a 1550 100C 4S LiPo. And here's just a quick look at what it looks like. Pretty typical 1550 size. Yeah, you got XD60, of course. Yeah, I'll give you all the stats and measurements and all that good stuff in the review video. I'll probably compare this to probably one of my Tattoo 1500 or 1550 lipos and do a comparison flight. Okay, so I just got in the new VI Fly Finder. This is like a really super loud buzzer, and I believe it'll still work even without power. So this come with some basic instructions, wiring diagram. Not exactly sure how this works yet. We'll find out in the review later, but just give you guys a quick look at it. And yeah, it's a pretty large buzzer. This is a much larger buzzer than I've seen elsewhere. You got a little button here, connector there, and looks like a little LiPo battery, a little 1S LiPo battery on the bottom. So if you crash and your battery gets ejected from your quad, if you put this somewhere securely in your quad, I think it's set for a timer or something like that, and then it'll start beeping. And of course, with its own battery, it can beep without the battery from the or other flight batteries. So check this out in the review later. See how loud it is compared to the regular buzzer. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot louder. This buzzer looks huge. Okay, just got a new frame kit in from Tomo Quads. I believe this is some sort of a folding 3-inch micro, and looks like Tomo has got a new battery strap. Pretty nice. I'll bring that out here, take a look at it. And new retail packaging here instead of just a plastic bag. Everything comes in nice retail packaging. This is pretty new, so pull everything out here, take a look at it real quick. So this is the new battery strap. Looks kind of like the one from iFlight, the one that I reviewed a while back. I think this one will be a little bit longer than that one, but we'll check this one out in the review. If you have questions about the battery strap, let me know. But that's what looks pretty much just like the iFlight one. So yeah, I'm not gonna actually assemble it here. I'll do that in the review. But you know, I've got folding arms in here for 3-inch props. I think yeah, it's got yeah, I'm not sure what the size of the motor mount is. I think it's 4 1100 size motors or 9mm hole pattern. You got a bunch of standoffs and stuff to put this together. No instructions. And you got some 3D printed parts, arm bumpers, and flight stack dampeners. Okay, no instructions, but I'll probably have to just go off of the picture on the website and then figure this out. And of course, I'll have assembly instructions in the review. Okay, so I got a few more things here from Fox here. This here is a Tiny Whip gate, and it's a kind of a small arch for Tiny Whip racing. It comes in this nice bag and has a bunch of like small metal sticks you stick together and put into the arch. Put a picture of here what it looks like, but it's like pretty inexpensive. It's like $15 and comes in this nice little cloth pouch, and the flat or the gate itself is also cloth, so it's pretty nice for $15. Send me a few of these, and you'll see these in some upcoming Tiny Whip reviews. They sent me some more antennas. It looks like these are going to be the Lollipop 2s, I believe. Yeah, so these are the Lollipop 2s with the SMA connector. And this bigger box here is the one with the micro FL connector. I should be getting the ones with the MMCX connector eventually at some point. Okay, this one I believe is the updated version of the Falcor camera. There's no label on here, so I think they're still working on it. So I'll have some updated footage on this camera. I think they fixed some of the sharpening issues, and I think they've updated some of the menus as well. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Okay, got another video transmitter here from AKK. It's called the Infinite DVR VTX. And here's a quick look at it. As a name indicates, I think it's a DVR VTX. So yeah, it's a 30x30 board with a video transmitter, smart audio of course, and built-in DVR. I think it's 640x480, 30 frames per second. And the power goes up to 1000 milliwatts, and it's power switchable of course, MMCX connector there. And it does come with a microphone. I think all the new AKK video transmitters come with microphones now, and of course the smart audio is working on all these as well. There's no smart audio bug on the latest shipping video transmitters from AKK. Alright, got a bunch more stuff here from FXT. Start here with the Black Knight. I think this is a video transmitter, the FX878T. Looks like a kind of a regular video transmitter, not mountable. It's kind of old school. Got a connector there. MMCX connector for your antenna, SMA adapter there, and you get a joystick board. I'm not sure what that's for. That's interesting. Usually this will come with cameras, not with the video transmitter, so I'm wondering what that's all about. I guess we'll find out in the review. So I'll just open this up. Don't really know much about it, and we'll be taking a look at this in the review later. Okay, so we got three new cameras, the Venus Pro, Mars Pro, and the Mars S. I think they're all mini-sized cameras. Okay, so here's what the Venus Pro looks like. Voltage range of 4.8 to 36 volts, and it's got this, looks like a 5-pin connector, and I think there's a VVAT line there, OSD line as well. Looks like it's a micro-sized 19 by 19, but it's a very large case, and it's got an M8 lens here. And this is the Mars Pro, again up to 36 volts, 5-pin connector in the back, M12 lens, and this one's a mini size. I think it's going to be about like 21 by 21 or something like that. And this one is the Mars S, and this one looks like a micro as well. So let me put this next to the Venus Pro. Yeah, so it's probably going to be 19 by 19, and this looks like it has an M8 lens as well. So the cases are different on these ones compared to ones you see from like RenCam or Foxeer. These are pretty big cases for a micro-sized camera. Don't know the differences between these. I'll find out in the review. Not sure if they're going to be separate or all together, but not to find. I guess I'll find out what's going on with these cameras, and then I'll have videos for these at some point. Okay, so we got some new stuff here from HGLRC. This is the GTX Nano. It's like a tiny video transmitter. I'll get that here in a second. And we got a couple of new like a flight controller and ESC. So there's a new F4 flight controller and a new 4-in-1 20 amp ESC. I believe it's only BLS. So these two parts are actually in this stack here. It's called the F420 stack, which has the F4 M3 flight controller, which is that part there, and then the 20 amp ESC. So they sell the flight controller and the ESC separately, as well as in a combo here with the stack. And basically, for you guys that were complaining about the pins always breaking and crashes, HGLRC is listening to those complaints, and they've come out with this new product that uses the older micro connectors. I think it was like, people complained about the micro connectors taking up space and being extra weight and stuff in the past, but apparently people want that back now. So this is what these are. So let's go ahead and take these out, and we'll take a look at what these look like. Okay, so I've taken all of the stuff out of the boxes just to show you what you get for each different SKU. If you get the stack, obviously you're going to get the normal, M2 mounting hardware. I believe this, actually, I think this is M3. Yeah, so they've gone to M3. This is new. And you can see the boards. They have the M3 holes now, not the M2s. We'll look at the boards a little closer here in a second, but one thing I wanted to point out is that the wiring loom obviously is going to match here. If you go with the stack, you're going to get one connector on this side for the ESC, and obviously the other goes into the flight controller, and you get the capacitor, and this is a 1000 microfarad 35 volt capacitor. So this is what you would get in the stack combo. Now if you just get the flight controller, obviously you get the mounting hardware, the nylon mounting hardware, the flight controller board, and this is the wiring loom you get. You get bare wire on this side, and the connector obviously goes in over here. So I guess they're making some assumptions that you might be using this with some other kind of ESC, perhaps like maybe individual ESCs. I mean, that's possible as well. So this was why they're giving you this one. It would have been nice to include both this one and the one that will fit the other ESC, assuming you buy them separately. And the same applies here. So you get the mounting hardware on the ESCs, the capacitor, obviously you get the board, and then they got the same wiring harness here with bare wire on the other end instead of the connector. So they're probably assuming that you might use this ESC with a different flight controller perhaps, and of course that's always possible that you could do that. So if you are buying these, keep in mind that this is what you're going to get, and obviously you could always cut these wires and then solder them together to what they correspond with and use the connectors in both ends. Of course that's always possible too, but it's a little bit extra work. So if you are going to get the board separately, you might as well just get the stack and get everything here ready to go. Okay, so just a closer look at the flight controller board. It's an F4 MPU 6000. Pretty similar to the stuff they had before. There's only a few pads here on the bottom. I'll have a full review of course later. Boot button, all the pads are on the outside. I like that. Should be easy to solder up. The board does look a little bit bigger than the older boards. You can see that how much further they are away from the hole. So we'll have to check that out in the review, and then And then this is the 4-in-1 ESC board. Nothing too fancy there. No current sensor that I can see. Pretty big battery pads, I like that. No XD60, obviously. I think that's where you're going to solder on your capacitor as well, so I like the big pads there. So yeah, we'll have reviews on all this stuff coming up soon. And this is the GTX Nano. It's a really tiny video transmitter. I think it's 25 and 50 milliwatts power switchable. Comes with these silicone wires. It's all direct solder here. Get a micro FL connector here. I think there's another version where the antenna is directly soldered on if you prefer that. And I believe this has smart audio. I think it has Tramp. I'm 100% sure which one it is. Pretty sure it's going to be Tramp because that's what HGLRC has been using on all the other ones. But you can see this is super tiny. I think this is like maybe a gram or two. It's super tiny, so this might be good for like a tiny whip or something like that. I'll obviously have a video on this coming up soon.